Good morning, students. This is A. Manoj Kumar. Welcome to social class. I am working in Oxford High School, Pugunduru. We have been discussing about Rampur, a village economy. Especially last session, what we discussed, we have been discussing about factors of production. Land, that one completed. Second factor of production, labor also completed. Dala example also given. Third factor of production is working capital or else physical capital. Physical capital sometimes called as fixed capital. Little bit data I given in the previous class. Okay, so here we will learn regarding working capital. Suppose if you are doing farming, you are a small farmer. If you are doing a farming, by that time you need seeds, pesticides, fertilizers. How you will procure? Suppose you are a poor farmer, how you will procure these seeds, fertilizers and pesticides? Yes, for somebody you will approach somebody, okay na, whether money lender or big farmer, you will approaches them and you will ask them money, and that means you are borrowing the some amount of money from them. They are collecting they are charging the interest for that money, isn't it or not? So next thing is, next year if you repay the amount, that means your interested amount, then we have a big question, because we will get sufficient production in this year. We don't know, that will depend upon the climatic conditions, isn't it or not? If we have sufficient amount of rainfall, our field having very prominent irrigation facilities, by that time only we will get good production, good yield. If you get good yield, by that time only you are able to pay money where you have taken, isn't it or not? Otherwise every year you have to pay the interest on that amount. That is a big burden to small farmers. If you go around India, such a farmers we are generally we will see such kind of farmers. That means such kind of farmers are, so generally we are observing, isn't it or not? Common. Modern farming involves, suppose nowadays we are doing modern farming activities, everybody adopting the modern farming activities. That means we are using tractors. Then high yielding varieties nowadays we are using. In the minimum time we are receiving the yield. That is the specialty of high yielding varieties. Pesticides we are applying. Fertilizers we are applying. This is all about modern farming. This modern farming requires high amount of money. Being a small farmer, so procuring that money for these working, that means these fertilizers, pesticides is essential. Okay, so small farmers, just now I mentioned you, so these farmers are not having sufficient amount of money. They are approaching village heads in the sense village money lenders and borrowing the money. See, modern farming involves high yielding variety seeds, assured irrigation, fertilizers and pesticides. These are all required for modern farming. If we wanted to do farming, if we apply these all things for very good production, isn't it or not? So these are all related with the money. Okay, if you have money, then only you are able to buy high yielding varieties, that means seeds. Then irrigation facilities you will get it. Then fertilizers you will get it. Then pesticides you will get it. These are all related with the money. Then the farmers require a sufficient amount of capital for production. That is nothing but a money. Okay na? So that means working capital you should need. Suppose if I decided to practice agriculture in this year, to perform agriculture in this year, I wanted to buy seeds, pesticides, okay na? Then fertilizers, then ploughing is needed for my yield. That means essential for my farming. So all that require money, 6,000 or 10,000 rupees, I have to use working capital for that reason, isn't it or not? See how farmers arrange for physical capital and working capital required in farming. Now we will see this one with one example. So most small farmers have to borrow money to arrange for the working capital. Okay, now suppose just now I mentioned one example. I need 10,000 rupees working capital. How I will borrow that money? From somebody I will borrow that money. They borrow from large farmers or the village money lenders or the traders who supply various inputs. Inputs in the sense fertilizers, pesticides, seeds. These are all comes under inputs for cultivation. The rate of interest on such loans is very high, isn't it or not? Suppose I borrowed money from money lender, how much he will charge? Surely high interest rates he will fix, isn't it or not? So the rate of interest on such loans is very high. They are put to a great distress to repay the loan. For me, if I get a good production, then I will pay it. Then if I won't get the good production, then for me very difficult to repay my loan, isn't it or not? Such a way farmers are facing lot of problems to repay their loans. Loan means taken money, borrowed money. Here in your textbook Savita example given. Savita, she is a small farmer. Savita is a small farmer. Then she plans to cultivate wheat for her 1 acre of land. Okay na? So she has 1 acre of land. She planned to cultivate that land. Who? Savita. Okay, besides seeds, fertilizers and pesticides, she need to buy it for paying the cash, isn't it or not? She procure all those things for performing the which activity? Farming activity. Then so she approaches the Tejpal, who is the money lender in that village. She estimates that the working capital itself would cost a amount of 6,000 rupees. She planned herself, I need 6,000 rupees working capital to continue my farming activities. Then immediately, so she doesn't have the money, so that what she will do? Then she does not have the money, so she decides to borrow from Tejpal. Who is Tejpal? A large farmer in that village. A large farmer. Okay. From him she taken some money. So he agrees. Who agrees? Tejpal agrees to give Savita the loan at 36 per annum interest rate. 36% interest rate, in the sense that is a very high interest rate fixed by the Tejpal. Okay na? Then Savita also committed one contract with Tejpal. Which contract she made? So along I will pay the interest. 36% of interest I will pay. Then apart from this, I will do the work in your farm. Okay na? I will do the farm work. That means labor work in your farm by taking 100 rupees. Especially in the harvest time. Harvest time generally farm laborers get more than 300 rupees. But she committed to take 100 rupees. Why she committed? Because that he is the person to arrange the working capital for Savita. So for her it is not possible to take loan from the bank. She doesn't have any fixed assets. If you have fixed assets, by that time only bank will provide the loan. So Savita surely from Tejpal or else somebody she has to take the loan. Okay na? Then by that time commitments may be different. Okay na? Somebody committed like this. Okay na? So especially in the harvest time, she has to take care of her field as well as she has to do the labor work in the Tejpal field. So such a difficult situation she is facing. See. Okay na? Then at the same time, so she has to perform her household activities. She has three sons. Okay na? Savita has 3 sons. So apart from these 2, she has to perform household activities. So stressing and she bearing the stress, isn't it or not? She has to pay loan amount. At the same time she has to do the labor work. That to be morning to evening she has to do the labor work. Then sometimes she has to go her own field, she has to take care that field also. Then household responsibilities, how distressed she is facing. Okay, na? So such a way, everybody in the villages, such kind of situations they are facing, isn't it or not? Then medium and large farmers generally. So just now I explained you about so small farmers. Small farmers condition is like Savita. Such a way they are facing lot of difficulties, isn't it or not? If you go and observe the small farmers, such a difficulty situations they are facing. But if you see medium and large farmers, they are procuring the working capital themselves because they are saving amount every year. They are depositing some amount in the bank. Then whenever they need working capital, by that time they are going the bank and depositing, withdrawing that money and uses that money for arranging the working capital. For them, there is no need to take interest from somebody, isn't it or not? Okay. Then some big farmers, they are arranging the tractors for plowing their fields. Then they are procuring the harvesters, threshers, isn't it or not? These are all comes under which category? Physical capital category. Okay, na? Apart from the working capital, some farmers are procuring the which capital? Physical capital. I think everybody understood the difference between working capital and physical capital. Physical capital also called as fixed capital. Tractors, threshers, then tube wells. Okay, now these are all comes under fixed capital. So every small farmer or medium farmer or big farmer, they need working capital. They wanted to perform agricultural activities. Initially, they have to procure working capital. Okay, na? They have to procure working capital. By using this working capital, they will buy pesticides, seeds and fertilizers, etc., etc. By using that, agricultural operations will go on. Okay, na? So this is all about third important factor of production, that is nothing but capital. Understood? I think so. So surplus or loss for the farmer. Surplus means excess or loss for the farmer. Suppose you are a farmer, sometimes you will get the surplus production. Then sometimes you may be incurred by losses. Isn't it or not? These are all general. Suppose if you have surplus yield, then if you sell it in the market yard, if you get profits, what you will do? You will deposit some amount in a bank. Okay, now whenever if you deposit some amount in the bank, then the bank also add it in the interest. Suppose if you next year, if you need that amount, you will take money from the bank, some amount from the bank, then that amount you will use for the working capital purpose or else for any other purposes. Okay, na? See, the farmers have produced wheat on their lands using three factors of production. Suppose if you wanted to grow any kind of crops, then you should need three factors of productions. What are they? Land, labor, capital. Okay, capital contains working capital and physical capital. Okay, then they retain a part of the wheat for the family consumption and sell in the surplus. Suppose I am a farmer, I got the yield finally. Some amount for my family purpose I will retain it, isn't it or not? So that means I will deposit in my house some rice. So remaining rice I will sell in the market. Okay, na? Suppose this year I have very good yield, then some yield, that means some rice bags I will keep in my house, remaining all I will sell in the market yard. By that time I will get the amount. Okay, na? Small farmers like Savita and Gobind sons have little surplus wheat because their total production is small. So I explained you about the example Savita Tejpal example. Savita having small plot of land, small amount of land. Then Gobind sons also having the small amount of land. Even though they borrowed money from the money lenders, So they got a very little production. Okay, na? For them, so for their family consumptions, they are using that yield. So for them, it is not possible to sell excess production because they don't have such a excess production. Who? Savita or Govind sons. These two examples I explained you in the previous classes, previous sessions. Generally, it is the medium and large farmers who supply wheat to the wholesale market yard. The traders at the market yard buy the wheat and sell it further to the shopkeepers in the towns and cities. Is it or not? For example, I am a medium farmer or else large farmer. My surplus production I will sell to market yard. I will sell in the market yard. These market yard, okay na, people, they sell to the traders. These production they sell to, that means the traders purchase that, okay na, production. Okay. Tejpal, the large farmer, has a surplus of 350 quintals of wheat from all his land. Tejpal already, while discussing about Tejpal was a big farmer. He owns a lot of lands. So finally he got 350 quintals of wheat. For some wheat, for his own family consumptions, he will retain it. Then the remaining surely he will sell it in the market yard. Okay, he sells the excess wheat at the Raiganj market yard. Raiganj having market yard, it is very near to the Rampur. Then he sold remaining amount of wheat in this market yard and has good earnings. He got very good money. Okay, na? Then wheat does Tejpal do with these? What does Tejpal do with these earnings? Yourself, you tell me. Suppose you have excess money, what you will do? Suppose I have excess money, what I will do? I will deposit some amount in the bank. Or else, for the some amount, I will keep it in my cash, in my pocket, cash in hand. Or else, sometimes I will purchase a tractor. So nowadays, everybody so asking the tractors for plowing their fields. By that time, if I somebody hire my tractor, by that time I will get some amount. Okay, by various purposes, I use my good earnings, isn't it or not? Like that, surely Tej was also done such kind of strategies, isn't it or not? So last year Tejpal had put most of the money in his bank account. After that, he taken some amount. Then this amount he given to Savita. Like Savita, like people. Some poor farmers taken loan from the Tejpal. Okay, now he added the interest, much interest. That means so extra interest he added to such kind of poor farmers. So bank account, later he used the savings to lending the farmers like Savita who are in the need of a loan. He also used the savings to arrange for the working capital for farming in the next season. He kept some money in his pocket for performing next year agricultural activities. That is called working capital. Remember that one. Very, very important. This year Tejpal plans to use his earnings to buy another tractor. Already he has some tractors, one or two. He wanted to purchase another tractor because in that area people are badly needed tractors. If he sent his tractor, then he will get the money, isn't it or not? So another tractor would increase his fixed capital, isn't it or not? Suppose I am so purchasing tractor like that, automatically my fixed capital increases. Then like Tejpal, other large and medium farmers sell the surplus farm produce in the market yards. Apart from the earnings is saved and kept for buying capital for the next season. Some amount they are keeping in their pocket for next year performing the agricultural operations. Some farmers might also use the savings to buy cattle, trucks and set up shops. So these are all comes under non-farming activities. Very, very important. This one remember. Some farmers might also use the savings to buy cattle, trucks or to set up shops. These constitute the capital for non-farming activities. These activities not related to farming, so that these are all called non-farming activities. Which are called as non-farming activities? Buying cattle, trucks, set up shops. Buying cattle, trucks, set up shops, these are all non-farming activities. Understood? In the next session, I will explain you about non-farming activities. Okay, thank you.